Do you love, honor, and accept all of who you are? Good morning, everybody. Today is day 5 of looking at step 3, which is really honing in on loving and accepting and honoring all the different aspects to who we are. Today's video is going to be really beautiful. We're going to be looking at honoring all of the different facets to who we are in this human experience. Before we do that, I'm going to share the video. So if you don't mind doing the same, I'm going to share it in the Thrive Being You Facebook group. So if you're not a part of the Thrive Being You Facebook group, please do jump on and join us. And then I'm going to share it on my personal profile page. If you're not friends with me on Facebook, my name is Connie Lee Courageous Bennett on Facebook. Please befriend me and we can start connecting more. I'd love for you to reach out to me personally. I'd love for you to befriend me on Facebook, and I'd love for us to get to know each other a little bit more, so I can see you and you can see me, and we can really get to know one another more. So I'm just sharing it. If you don't mind sharing on your side, bottom left-hand side of the screen. Oh. Okay. Hi, sorry. I thought I would do this, but maybe the universe doesn't want me to do it now. Okay, sure. Can't find it on my page. Not a problem. Not meant to be. Sure. Okay. Perfect. So, wow. This week has been pretty intense, hasn't it, guys? It's been a bit of an up and a down. It's been a bit of a roller coaster for a lot of people that have been sharing with me what their experience has been. And this is what happens when you say to the universe, universe, what is preventing me from living in freedom? The universe says, okay, sure, here we go. Here are all the areas in your life where you're not honoring you, where you're not loving, and you're not really feeling in completion of yourself. So today is going to be really beautiful. You see what happens? I know that a lot of people feel pressure a lot of the time. We feel, the sense of really being overwhelmed. And, when you put a lot of pressure on yourself, what happens is you go into a space of depression. What depression actually is when you depress the truth of who you are, when you put pressure down on who you really are on a soul level, in that complete level of who you are. Now, for example, imagine that there are different aspects to who you are. We've started talking about this, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit on a different level now today. We know that there are different aspects to who we are as a human, don't we? So we know that this is who we are. It's a great picture, isn't it? So imagine for a moment that who we are is a mental body. So we've spoken about the different aspects, but also there are different levels to who we are. There are different bodies of who we are on the spiritual level. So we have the mental body. Now, the mental body is the body that is responsible for our intellect. It is the body that is responsible for our mental processing, our analyzing. Our mental body is the body that develops the defense mechanisms. So my question to you is, if you think about your mental body, are you putting any pressure on your mental body? Is there any stagnation in your mental body? So when you think about how you process things, if you think about your thoughts, do you love, honor, and accept your mental body? Or is there criticism for the way that you think, the way that you process? Is there any pressure in your mental body? Then we also have our emotional body. So our emotional body is the part of us that feels, that has emotions. So my question to you is there any pressure that you feel in your emotional body? Is there any pressure? Are you pushing down? Are you not allowing any emotions, any feelings? Then we also have our physical body. Now, our physical body is the part of us that holds who we are in this physical form, but it holds the energy of the pressure. So when there is pressure in our emotional body, that build-up is felt in the physical body. So it's literally felt in the energy field around our body. It's literally physically built up there. So when you feel your physical body, do you feel a sense of pressure, suppression? Is there any pressure? Is there any build-up in your physical body? And then, of course, we have our spiritual body. And our spiritual body is the body that is the complete version of us, is our complete version of ourselves, is the sense of wholeness that we feel in our spiritual body. So I'd like to acknowledge Melissa Fremantle at this moment. I'd like to honor her for sharing this process with me that I'm sharing with you today. So thank you very much, Mel, for your beautiful guidance and support around this for me as well. So our spiritual body is where we feel that sense of wholeness and that sense of self. Now, what happens when we don't love ourselves? We've been talking about different aspects to loving ourselves, but today I'd like to tie it all together. Now, when we love ourselves, when we truly love, honor, and accept all of who we are, what I'm talking about is this. I'm talking about, do you love your thoughts? Do you love your mental body? Do you love your physical body? Do you love and honor your physical body? What about your emotions and your feelings? What about your spiritual self? What about, is there that space for that flow and that love? Now, what happens whenever we don't love ourselves? Whenever there is conflict in our life, whenever there is a sense of depression, what happens is that, one, there is a buildup of the energy in that particular area. So when there's a buildup, there is pressure, and the more pressure there is in that area, the more stagnant it becomes, because then there's not a lot of flow. It's a lot of pressure. It's pushing down. Now, if you imagine, for example, in South Africa, a dam, now, or a river. Now, when there is a block in a river or a dam, you have a dam wall, nothing can go through it. So imagine here is the dam wall. The more pressure you put on that particular area, the less love that there is, the more stagnation, the more block. So if there is a block here, this energy can't flow through, it gets caught up here, and the caught up energy becomes a stagnation of energy in that particular area. And that stagnation of energy is felt in the energy body, which is around the physical body. So the same thing when it comes to your thoughts. If you don't love your thoughts, if you don't honor your thoughts, if you don't accept your thoughts, what happens is that there is a buildup. So if you don't love, you block the energy, okay? It doesn't flow through, it blocks, and it becomes a stagnation of energy in the mental part of you, in the mental body. Same with your feelings. If you don't love, if there's no flow, love allows for the flow. It is then built up. Now, what happens when there is a crisis, when we don't love a particular area, when there is depression, when there is something that happens in our life, what happens is that we either block a particular area and we push it to the side and we push it down and we don't even look at it. We put it in a little box and then we push it to the side and we don't look at it. Or what we do is let's say, for example, there is safety in this area. We focus only on one particular area, one or two particular areas, and we reject the other areas of who we are. So there's no flow, there's no natural flow within the body. So those of you who are part of the elite group, you will see that I've recorded a beautiful meditation for you this week. Because part of being the elite family is that we've started recording weekly meditations that integrate the concepts that we talk about in the Facebook Lives. And in this meditation, what I've done is I have allowed for the reflow, the reconnection of all of these different areas of who we are. When we love, when there is love, what happens is that the blocks are removed. The blocks are removed. The stagnation is removed because it is replaced with love. So we replace each of the different stagnant areas with the energy of love. And then when there's love, if you can imagine, there's a flow here. It flows through your emotional body, through your spiritual body, through the physical body. And there is a flow of energy in all the different areas of who you are. Not only when you connect with love, honor, and acceptance of who you are, is there a flow of energy in all the different aspects of who you are. There is also a flow of energy that connects you to source, to abundance, to that higher power. And there's also a flow and energy that connects you to the earth. And all of this begins to be in flow. When you are in crisis, you block yourself off because you want to protect yourself, because you go to that which you know, that which is familiar, that which has protected you in the past. But when you close yourself off, you begin to block the flow. You begin to block the flow of love in all the different areas of your life. So when you love yourself, accept yourself, honor all of who you are, you step into the flow. And when you are in the flow, you know that you are unlimited. You are abundant in the opportunities that come your way. When you are in the flow of love, honor, and acceptance, you accept agreements that honor you. You accept thoughts that honor you. You release thoughts that no longer serve you. So when you're in the flow, there is this nothing can affect all the different aspects of who you are. You release. So you release thoughts that no longer honor you. You release feelings in gratitude for what they've taught you, but you release them because they no longer honor you. You start connecting to that feeling of oneness and completion, and you let go of anything that isn't oneness and completion. When people in your life start reflecting the opposite of flow and oneness, you release those reflections. You release potentially those people. Because we honor the flow of who we are. But we can only honor the flow of who we are when we know the different aspects of who we are. So my encouragement to you today is to get to know all the different aspects of who you are. Love all the aspects of who you are. Begin to see where there is stagnation and what you need to release. so that you can love, honor, and accept and approve of all of who you are. To live in freedom means to not stay hidden. To live in freedom means to not live in the blocks, to not live in the stagnation. To live in freedom means that you know there are no limitations to that which you want for yourself in your life. So what have we said today in summary? Today what we've said is that there are many different aspects to who you are. There is the mental body, the emotional body, the spiritual body, and the physical body. And when we are in crisis, we either reject one of those areas, we feel a stagnation in those areas, we stay hidden in some of those areas, and we only focus on one of the different aspects. But that's not living in freedom of all of who we are. Freedom of all of who we are means a flow, and that flow is found when we love, honor, and accept all the different aspects to who we are. So guys, we've had a really beautiful week. What have we spoken about this week? This week, what we've spoken about is we've spoken about the concept that you're doing the very best that you know how. And we honor wherever you are in your spiritual journey, wherever you are in your process, because you're doing the very best that you know how in the different areas. We've also said that when we're creating, are we creating from the old or are we creating from the space of the new? When we're creating a meal, when you're making a new life for yourself, are you creating in the flow or are you just creating in one of the different areas? We spoke about releasing of negative thoughts. We spoke about releasing criticism. And we spoke about how the magic wand to release all of this is self-love, self-acceptance, and self-approval. Today is Friday. And what that means is that I'm going to encourage every single one of you to show up in the Thrive Being You Facebook group, or my elite guys. My encouragement is for you to show up in the group, record a Facebook Live. If you don't feel comfortable recording a Facebook Live, write it. Write down the answer to these 3 questions. The 3 questions are, what have you uncovered this week? Number 1, what have you uncovered this week? Number 2, what have you achieved this week? What have you practiced this week? And number 3, what are you choosing to now integrate every day moving forward? What are you going to do with it? So number 1, what have you uncovered? 2, what have you achieved? What have you practiced? And 3, what are you going to continue to practice? Show up in these groups. Start to open up to your family, the Thrive family, so that we can begin to support each other. This is a safe space. If you're not sharing what you're learning, it's going to be harder for you to integrate. So I encourage you to show up in these groups. Elite guys, it's a small group. It's a very intimate group. Show up in that elite group. Start sharing your journey. I love you, I honor you, and I accept you for all of who you are. Next week, we're looking at releasing and we're looking at forgiveness. Elite guys, I'll see you at 9 o'clock for the live question and answer session. The rest of you, I wish you a wonderful, wonderful weekend of self-love and acceptance. And I'll see you on Monday, where we look at the first steps to releasing and forgiving so that we can start living in freedom. Cheers, guys. Bye.